Rev up your engines!
Well, GM's at it again being sleazy. They're no longer replacing the 20 to 22 GM Bolt electric car batteries that they were under recalls. Now they're just offering a software recall. They don't want to spend the money, right? So now they're pulling this crap. It's just typical with these corporations. It was costing them too much money, so we'll fix it with software, just like old Elon, right? Chevy Bolt owners got a notice from Chevy that said that the high voltage battery replacement is no longer going to happen. They're going to use a software diagnosis on the car to see, oh, is it good or is it bad? Guess what? They're always going to say it's not bad, right? I mean, come on now. I've had people take cars in with bad automatic transmissions and say, oh, no, the dealer said that's fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Or they do a software rewrite of the software for the transmission, and it didn't fix the problem. They were still just as bad as they were. They're looking at any excuse not to spend money to fix the crap that they sold to people, right? Now, of course, the Chevy Bolt owners are all mad as can be. They expected free stuff. Now it's, well, we'll look at it. We'll tell you if it's good or not. Yeah. Here's an email from one of these owners. I got a call today from the Chevrolet concierge letting me know that GM has come up with a software fix. Instead of replacing the main battery, they will install software that puts the vehicle back rather than replace the battery pack. And if it passes, then that's it for the safety recall. And here's some more. The remedy is the installation of advanced diagnostic software that will monitor battery performance and identify defective battery modules that require replacement if needed later. Great. So you're driving along, well, maybe it breaks down the road, you're stranded somewhere, right? But the software's going to fix it all. No, they should have replaced them all. And of course, as usual, they said they were going to, but now they're not. These things where you say, judgment against this person was made. Then you find out of the $400 million judgment, nothing was ever paid back because the people are bankrupt. And then they have money somewhere hidden away, right? But legally, they're bankrupt. Like O.J. Simpson, when he lost a civil trial and he had to pay all this money, he just said, I'm bankrupt, I don't have any money. Well, the guy's playing golf and stuff all over the world, right? But he doesn't have any money. It's technical there. It's technical. Same thing with this. They were supposed to replace them. Now they're using the technicality not to replace them because, let's just face it, they're scumbags at GM. Well, proving that things are much more complex than people think, it turns out that the atmosphere on top of our atmosphere, right, our short bit of atmosphere we live in that's heating up, they say from carbon dioxide, now it turns out that the outer layer is actually getting colder. One's getting hotter, one's getting colder. Nobody ever knows the ramifications of any of this stuff. They think they know. The Earth is so complex. No one has any idea what's actually happening, right? Now it turns out that the bottom's getting hotter, but the top's getting colder. And of course, they blame it on CO2. Who knows why? Nobody has any idea why it's actually happening. So it's getting hotter the 5 to 9 miles. That's our atmosphere. But then higher than that, it's getting colder. Things are so complex, I mean, look, Mars lost its atmosphere. There were no people on Mars. You can't blame it on the people on Mars unless you believe in Martians. It doesn't look like there's any proof that they had anything more than maybe bacteria on Mars, right? Well, Mars' atmosphere disappeared and there were no people at all. You can't blame it on people there. Sometimes people overstepped the effect that humans have. People think that they're more important than they actually are. And then when they think, well, we're going to fix this by doing that, they have no idea what's actually going to occur, what interactions are happening, and what's going to affect what and how that interacts with something else. No one really knows. Well, finally, that stupid recycling symbol, that they put on plastics. Now, EPA says, well, it looks like we're going to have to change our rule. They just cheated with that. The circular symbol, with the arrows on it. Oh, it can be recycled. Well, it turns out that inside that, there's numbers, right? And the plastic companies, of course, being scumbags, they figured a way around it. They just said, well, we'll give various numbers. And a lot of those numbers are not recyclable numbers, right? You can't recycle that kind of plastic. But they were allowed to put that number inside that recycling symbol. So, of course, the average American thinks, hey, it's got the recycling symbol. I'll throw it into plastic recycling, right? No. But they were allowed to do that. They found a little loophole, so it made it look like the stuff that they never recycle can be recycled, right? And on top of that, let's face the facts. People think that because they say something is recycling, it's going to be recycled. I have watched so many documentaries, American ones, Canadian ones, German ones, Australians, and they followed this recycled plastic crap and they found most of it's just thrown away or it's sent to some other country where they burn it. It's just a myth that they're recycling this crap. And then this is the worst one, though. This is like Tesla calling his cars full self-driving technology. They aren't full self-driving. They can't drive themselves. By law, they're not not allowed to drive themselves. They're not at that level, right? But the point that they have the stupid recycling symbol, and inside it are numbers, and depending on the numbers, it may or may not be recyclable. They should not be allowed to put that recycling circle insignia on any of them that aren't recyclable. That's just open fraud, if you ask me. I mean, of course, the plastic companies got figured a way to do it, right? People won't know what the heck the numbers mean, but it'll look like we're recycling, so, oh, look, everyone's happy, you know? Well, we worry about what things look like, not what they actually are. Well, Harley-Davidson has a new problem. It's called repossession. Harley can't get enough repo men to repo the Harley-Davidsons that people got and aren't paying for. Well, we got to look at this logically now, right? They're Harley-Davidsons. You get this image of Hell's Angels driving Harley-Davidsons, right? The mean, tough guys buying Harley-Davidsons. Well, would you want to repo a Harley-Davidson from one of these guys? I certainly wouldn't want to, you know? They can't find anybody that'll repo the Harley-Davidsons. And this is no small potatoes. They lost $52.6 million in their credit division that gives the credit to buy Harley-Davidsons. That's a lot of money, right? They can't get the repo men to go repo the Harleys. Here's where image kind of goes against you, you know. The image of the Harley. I'm a big Harley. Oh, big American Harley. Oh, we're big and tough. Well, nobody's going to repo the Harleys from the big and tough people. Although, nowadays, it's really not big and tough people. They're mainly fat, middle-aged, and baby boomers that are driving Harleys around. And in my day, they were lean, thin guys. They were buying them for $500, $200, fixing them up, right? Riding in motorcycle gangs. Now, they're baby boomers. They're guys with huge guts on them driving around. The hilarious thing is, used to be the image of, when I was a kid, the Harley-Davidson outlaw biker goes screaming by all the cars on Harley. Now, on a highway, you see people in SUVs passing them. The world's changing, you know, but I find it hilarious that they can't get people to repo these things because they're not paying on them, right? Back in the day, I know guys who repoed Harley-Davidson. They had a truck and a chain. And if it was in the guy's garage, they put the chain on the garage door, they'd pull the door out, get the Harley, and take it away. I guess those days are gone. We're in a politically correct version of society now. People don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Now, here's one that I had to laugh at. There's a woman at an airport, and they forced her to weigh herself on the scale. And she said, I was so embarrassed. Oh, you know, everybody's saying, you know, don't fat shame people, whatever. Well, hey, you got to side with the airlines on this. Now, this wasn't a big 747. This was a small regional airplane. And I've been on small planes. I've flown small planes all over the place, over Lake Michigan to Green Bay, from Boston to Maine on these little turboprops. And they're tiny planes, right? They have to balance the plane with weight. Well, if you check the picture of this woman out, she lied to them and told her she weighed 130 pounds. Well, if you look at that woman, she's at least 230, if not more, right? But of course, she's I weigh 130. You have to balance those planes. They even told us we got a little one going to Maine. Okay, you figure, what do these people weigh? Okay, and then you men sit one on one side, one on the other. You don't want them both on the same side. Unbalance the plane, right? You know, you're going on a little plane. Honey, don't lie to people about how much you weigh. Anybody can see you don't weigh 130 pounds. Maybe you do on the moon, but you're still on planet Earth. As one of the passengers of the plane said, hey, it's a tiny plane, so they needed our weight to take off for safety reasons. Who does this woman think she's fooling, saying somebody that looks like that weighs 130 pounds? Come on now. Let's live in a real world here. You may be in a fantasy world inside your head, but when you're in the actual world where you're going on a small plane and the weight means a big deal, don't lie and tell them how much you really weigh. But if you're going to say you weigh 130 pounds, well, then all bets are off. They do need to put you on the scale then. Everyone is into this woke thing. One of the people commented, why are people so mean? Hey, mean schmeen. If that plane crashed because they had too much weight on one side, now forget political correctness. I want to be on a plane where it's balanced. Somebody who weighs well over 200 says they weigh 130. Hey, you're mean if everyone dies from a plane wreck because you lied about how much you weighed, you know? You might live in a fantasy world that you think everything is phenomenal and you can eat all the cake and ice cream or whatever you want in that. It's fine. I'm healthy. There's nothing wrong with doing as much as I possibly can. Hey, it'll get to your health in the long run, but please, don't affect our health if we're on a little plane and lie about your weight, please. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.